The first myth is the myth of the average golfer. The average golfer doesn't exist. The average golfer is a conglomeration of all the averages of average people to create this mythical ghost who we get to compare against or feel as part of this community of the average golfer, so that marketers can talk to you as the average golfer, because now you've associated with average golfer, to sell you crap you don't need. The average golfer just doesn't exist. Only you exist in your context, needing to understand your game. The average golfer does not help you understand your game, because 115 handicapper can drive the ball like a pro and chip and putt like a dog. The other guy can't drive a golf ball, drives it like an absolute dog, but can chip and putt like the best of us. And that's why the average golfer doesn't help you. Then you get these straw man arguments people make to get clicks on their videos and to appear as fake gurus, that driver and 3-wood miss the same amount of fairways and have the same dispersion left and right, so rather hit the driver. But what they never tell you is that, number one, the driver goes another 20 or 30 yards deeper on that same angle, deeper into the crap, into the stuff that the course designer has put there at the driver range. The 3-wood stays further back on the same angle, doesn't get into the same trouble. But the biggest lie, and that's the second part of this, is that they always compare driver and 3-wood, making it a straw man argument, when everybody knows the 5-wood, 7-wood, 3 hybrid, 2 hybrid, 4 hybrid are much easier to hit to get the ball in play. So it's not driver versus 3-wood, it's driver versus freaking 5-wood. That's the starting point. That myth needs to disappear to stop making people, pseudo-intellectuals, appear intelligent, when we know ourselves what really works. Well, that is a damn fine shot, young lady. A very lovely shot. You're not average, you're just misled. They call you average to make you obedient. One of the myths that you'll notice when they try to get the average golfer involved is longer is always better on average for the average golfer, so get it as close to the green as you can. Closer to the hole doesn't count much when you have no confidentiality to hit the longer club when there's OB, big bunker, water. What's going to help me the most is to get the ball in play. Yeah, I might lose some distance. I'm going to hit an iron off this tee because I'm not sure where the driver's going. I hook the ball into the water. I got to take a drop at the tee box of the ladies there, and now I'm hitting 3 shots from about 350 yards. Wow, that sucks. Instead, I'm going to hit a ball that goes in play, allows me another shot, maybe a little bit longer into the green, but I just accept that beforehand, that this is the way to keep the bogey and less on the scorecard, rather than bring the double and triple into play by following the box advice of get in your box as long as possible off the tee, hit the driver, don't hit your fairway woods or hybrids, driver, driver, driver. That myth needs to die. It's never ever being applied on the course by these gurus to 15 handicaps. Now the amount of confidentiality I have in that shot is crazy. The overall theme here is that advice without accountability is so toxic. One of these things is get it as close to the green as you possibly can all the time, because on average that's going to be the best for every golfer. But what that doesn't take into account here is that what's around the green? Do you have trees? Do you have water? Do you have deep bunkers? Do you have difficult, raised, elevated greens that you have to chip onto from greenside rough? Because going long as possible, if you're out of range of your most comfy shot, let's say you have like a no-go zone. I'm not going to hit to the green from this zone. I'm going to lay up. When you hit that ball from your no-go zone, what happens is you go all the way into the stuff on the right and on the left, and often it's in a bad lie in the rough. And now, look here, we'd have to chip over bunkers from the right and over bunkers from the left if you're not in those deep bunkers, which are difficult to get out of. So the context is never given. The advice without accountability is always there to sell you a sensor, a book, or a course. And those things may help you, but the way they've set up is almost always for pros or low handicaps. So from here, it depends on my context, right? So my context is I can hit from 192, I'll hit my 6-iron again. So I'll hit my 6-iron, it's a long approach into the green, but I can, at my skill level, accept any result, really. So we're just on the green side there, which is like within my shot dispersion, and that's what happens when you try to go closer to the green, is that the shot dispersion increases when you have lower loft. So your loft is low, the ball sprays right and left more. Your loft is high, it sprays right and left less. Even with the same dispersion, let's say it goes off the same percentage or degrees out to the right, the pitching wedge cannot reach as far as the 6-iron, so it cannot go into the deep stuff as deep. So let's say I have 200, my cutoff distance going for the green is 165. I'm going to hit my pitching wedge here, and I'm going to leave it in a position that leaves a nice pitch. We're not here to optimize, we're out here to feel the pain and the anguish of hope and the desperation of loveliness. That's what golf's all about. The other trick they play on you is to say, get it as close to the green as you can, and then they neglect to tell you that the 40 to 80 yard zone for every skill level of golfer is the most difficult to control the distance. So the dispersion, which is the movement left and right on long shots, goes left and right, right? That's what we call dispersion. But then we think that's the only meaning of dispersion, where inside this 40 to 80 yard zone, the dispersion changes from left and right to long and short. And controlling the distance inside 40 to 80, we call this the no man's land. It's very difficult, even for PGA Tour pros, to control that distance. Now, if you move this ball on a circle behind that bunker and you have to chip onto that green because you went for the green, is that the same shot? It's the same proximity, but is it the same shot? Proximity only helps when your lie doesn't make you shit yourself. There's another insidious myth that needs to be busted right here, and that's this idea that, yeah, short game is going to give you some quick wins, but then it's going to have diminishing returns and you're going to stall. This is the reason, right, they make straw man arguments, because you practice short game, you're going to stall. But they don't see the transferring of the short game skills into club face control on full shots, into strike on full shots, into the confidentiality you have when you can chip to be able to hit better approach shots because you have less pressure on not being able to chip. It's all interconnected. So when you see these gurus making straw man arguments, as soon as you hear these straw man arguments and myths, you can just dismiss everything they're saying. It's absolute hogwash. And practicing this shot, bunker shots, chipping around the green, putting, keeps that ceiling of your scores down permanently. We have A form, B form, C form, D form. You only hit your A game twice a year for a short period. B game also about twice a year for a short period around the A game. C and D game is what you're playing with most of the year. So the short game is always there. It's always part of your game. It's ever present, it's omniscient, it's omnipotent, whatever that means. And you're always going to need to clean up your game. You're never going to hit 18 greens in regulation. Even the pros only hit 12. We are amateur handicap golfers. Telling people not to practice their short game because you get diminishing returns and you're going to stall is probably the top tier level straw man dumbass argument I've ever heard. Now, I practiced this really well by learning the 9 o'clock swing, and I just substitute in the club I need to hit the shot. Oh, damn.
Very nice.
Very good, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know. Some of the most elite tier bullshit I've ever heard was somebody saying the other day that because the driving range is full of people hitting irons and drivers and the short game area is empty, it's clear evidence by way of backward logic and backward thinking that the short game doesn't matter. Absolutely stupid, because the short game matters so much because we're going to do this all the time. All the way through a round, if your handicap is above 5, 3, you're going to be scrambling like a big dog. But just talking about no practice the short game because it's just quick wins and then it doesn't, you stall, yeah, you're going to stall at about a 5 or 6 handicap, 10 below the world average. I mean, come on, let's be real. Yeah, let's be real here. Man, that is crap. I should have used the 9-iron. But players, that's the thing. I got to make the club choice here. That can be the difference between getting up and down or not. That's the difference between a par or a bogey. One shot. You do that on 15 holes that you don't hit the green, you're shooting 15 over instead of maybe if you can shoot 7 over. Easy game. There's a myth out there that uphill and downhill putt don't make any difference according to the information. But they always say, hey, you're going to rather have a 6 or 7 footer up the hill or a 4 footer down the hill. You always take the 4 footer. Mother lover. Of course. But if you're talking about leaving a 6-footer below the hole or a 6-footer above the hole, the same length putt, we're going to take the uphill putt every single time. It gives us that beautiful aggressive stroke instead of tentative, scared that we're going to hit it 4 foot past. And this is something that you can take into account when you're playing golf yourself and go, where do I want to leave this ball? Yeah, a little bit below the hole, so I'll be a little bit more aggressive on this one, or I'll be a little bit more tentative. Just like that. We don't need to buy into all the nonsense they try to tell us. I don't even know what their incentive is other than being able to sound pseudo-intellectual. You're right, girl. You are right. And how many times have you seen yourself and your friends get freaked out by downhill putts? Let's be real. Let's be real. We've talked about comparing ourselves to pros, and there's a big idea out there like Tiger Woods, Tiger 5. Only a couple of those things actually apply. We are not pro golfers, so to compare to Tiger's 5 is a little bit dishonest. Use the Sidekick 6 instead, listed over here, and watch the video and the link in the description to see how you can use your own statistics and information about yourself to learn more about yourself, because learning more about yourself is really the key to playing better golf. Because the guru's advice works perfectly on the golfer that they made up. They're always in the studio, they're always talking from wherever in a nice air-conditioned place, never on the course with a 10, 15 or 20 handicap. And that's why you can just dismiss it, because it doesn't work on the golf course. And that's why generic advice gets you generic results. Now Tiger says no bogeys on par 5s. I agree with that when you're at my level of golf, but if you're a 15 handicap, that bogey's real good. You're damn right. Top 5%. A humongous myth is that stats don't lie, numbers don't lie. It's another straw man argument because the numbers just sit there. But the narrator of that data, oh, that rhymes, narrator of the data is telling you the lies. So while you tell me that the data doesn't lie, which I understand because I actually worked in data in multinational corporations, understanding 99.999% of people don't understand how to read data, you need to be the narrator to tell people the message. That person is always lying because the only good data is the data that your boss agrees with. That's all you learn in corporate. And it's not that the data is wrong, it's that you've been misled. It's been weaponized against you. You are not a lost soul, you've just been lied to. Like this, for example, on a par 5, I have the ability to hit a 3-wood, not quite 266. If I catch it real good with a little draw, it might get there, but I'll be able to get it around the green closer and leaving me a pitch below the green, about 8 feet below the green. Do you want to pitch a ball like that over a bunker onto a raised green 8 feet above you with a bunker behind that pin? Maybe you don't. It's all about you, bad boy. Don't propagandize yourself out of being yourself. You don't need a permission slip from anybody to be yourself. The other option is to lay it up. They say you can't lay up to your favorite distances. This is another myth. They say you're not good enough to lay up to your favorite distance, so you may as well go as long as you can to the hole. But if I go as long as I can to the hole, now I've left myself a certain distance. Now you're telling me I have the skill to control the distance of that shot. Do you understand and do you see the little mental gymnastics they have to go through for this stuff? Because if I hit my 8-iron here, which is a pretty reliable club, I'm going to get anywhere between 100 to 130 into the hole, which is absolutely money. For me, it's a wedge. It might not be for you, but you might have to just do a different calculation here. And now that is just absolutely stunning, as you can tell by my caddy, who's very impressed. Thank you. And now if I hit the 3-wood, the assumption here is I'm getting as close to the hole as I can. Is my dispersion with 15 degrees of power going to go way right, way left, leave me a difficult shot in? Am I going to be able to handle the lie that I get if I don't pull it off 100%? Am I going to be able to hit the shot and accept that it's a difficult shot and I now need to play for a defensive shot rather than an attacking shot? Is my mind going to be able to do that? Do I have the skill level? You see how it works. It's all very nuanced when it's about you. When it's about other people, it turns into a straw man argument all the time, propagandizing and gaslighting you into not believing your own lying eyes. And this is why I get worked up though, because it's such a con that it makes me angry, because everyone thinks they live a day-to-day life when no one ever has, no one does. Well, that was an awful swing, but a hell of a strike. This is that thing where they try to give you you can't control the distance you hit the ball, you're too inconsistent, therefore you can't plan with your free throw distances, because the understanding again is straw-manned. We have 90 yards here. I've hit it a little too far. I didn't control it 100%, of course. But the misunderstanding is we're not trying to hit it to 100 yards for a 56 degree exactly, because if it doesn't work out, which it mostly won't, you'll be 5-10 yards either way. We play to a distance range to the green. We're not playing to the pin. The front edge of the green here is at about 80 yards. The back edge of the green here is about 100 yards. So we hit anything between 80 and 100. It can be the sand wedge to the back of the green, or it can be a partial 48 degree to the front of the green. Many options. We're not playing for that specific distance. We're getting to our free throw distance range that we then fit our club into that distance range. I'm still going to hit my 56 degree from 90 yards, even though it's my 98 to 100 yard club, and I'll be 8 yards to 10 yards over the pin on the back fringe. If I don't catch it good, I'm front edge. Absolutely money. Just on the back there, got my putt for the bird. The yellow ball is just in front of the bunker with my 3-wood, but it could just as easily go just 20 yards offline to the right here, going for the green, if I'm not in exactly good form or I make a little error. Now, I'm not making this a ridiculous thing right behind the tree, which is also a possibility. There's no tree roots here, luckily. That's another factor. The other one is, now you've got stuff in your way. You've got shizer in your way. And you're on a slope. You have to carry a huge gully here and then an upslope to the green. And you have to now adjust your expectations to be hitting the ball more left of the pin, just trying to get it on the green instead of hitting an attacking shot. And that's what I did with my sand wedge, was I hit it to the back of the green, boom, attacking shot. And this is what gets lost. On paper, the deviation is the same. On paper, from the rough is good. On paper, closer is always better. In reality, you don't have the lie in the data. You have the lie on the golf course. You have the angle. You have the trees. They'll tell you angles don't matter. Well, I'll tell you what, mother lover, would I rather have an angle 10 yards left of this, or an angle here where I have to hit through the trees or left of the trees? Let's think a little bit. Let's think a little bit. These myths that they keep telling us are making us stupid. We're not thinking. And I mean, that's really all I can do unless I somehow develop a magic skill of dealing with these funny lies with a funny angle. Now I've got another chip up the hill onto the raised green. Like, what the hell? We have to stop trying to fix what the imaginary golfer did wrong, because as you get closer to the truth, you start to understand how dumb their advice actually is. We are here closer to the hole. I can manage this shot. Can you manage this shot? Do you have a better chance of hitting this shot or another shot further right with a clear run up to the hole? That's why angles matter. That's why keeping it a bit shorter sometimes can give you that better angle, because it gives you that better height to be able to carry stuff. And if you roll the ball up, it's even better to have an angle, and you just have to work out how to get the ball to that angle so you can run the ball up. Not all of us are carry machines. I am a gym carry, okay? I carry the ball far. It stops. Not everyone can do that. So I can hit this partial shot here with full confidentiality, but I'm ignoring the bunker. It doesn't enter my mind, but for, hey man, you know, when you're struggling out there and you're trying to get your handicap down, these kind of shots scare the living daylights out of you. And remember we talked about practicing your short game? Hell, this is in that zone. Just having that little 3/4 shot to get on the green. Now I can handle this shot, and it's all about that, right? Spreadsheets don't tell you about the next lie, the angle, the slope. They don't tell you about the grass, the sand. It just tells you close as possible. Proximity don't matter when your lie is telling you to panic. Listen, players, a member of Augusta Nationale, those are the myths that really need to be busted. I hope you understand when you hear people talking about these things, it's mainly a straw man argument and propaganda and gaslighting to make you buy something or to believe what they're saying, to appear like an authority figure to sell you more stuff. That's how it works in this game. Hopefully you now know how to navigate your way through. Check out this over here for even more information on how to become an absolute boss thinker.